Hi, I'm Daniel Burstein, Director of Editorial Content at Marketing Sherpa, and thank you for joining us for a special video episode of Marketing Sherpa Chart of the Week. We are here in our studios in Jacksonville, Florida, joined by a special guest from Toronto, Mark Michaud, Senior Vice President of Strategy for Ariad Communications. Thanks for joining us, Mark.
My pleasure.
So what we're going to talk about today is a study that Marketing Sherpa recently ran with more than 2,000 consumers in August of 2015. We asked them many different questions, but the one we're going to talk about today is about the ways of discovering new products customers have. So we asked, in which of the following ways, if any, do you learn about new products you would like to purchase? Please select all that apply. And Mark, the first thing I want to talk about is there's no 100% in this chart, right? Sure, some numbers get up to 59%, but there are many different ways in which consumers want to discover products. And what challenge does that face for marketers, and how can they align their companies to face that challenge?
Well, I think there's really two things. When you look at those numbers, you see the wide variety of channels. You see digital channels, you see bricks and mortar channels, and you see some things that are really important for the consumer, but we don't think of as marketing channels at all, like word of mouth between friends and family, where we know there's a lot of trust for the consumer, but that's not really a place where we as marketers can play, right? So consumers will go where they want to go. They'll use the channels they want to use. Our challenge is figuring out, can we stay with them as they go from channel to channel to channel? I think the issue for us is that we're not really organized to do it that way, right? We don't really organize around the customer and how they behave. We organize around the channels and how we use those channels.
Yeah, and there's no customer saying, hey, brand X, I am your email customer, I am your print customer, right? That's what a brand is. It's a promise of any way you experience it, you're going to experience it consistently. And when we talk about the ways that customers want to experience that brand, we see two of the top three. One is brick and mortar in-store browsing. One is using a search engine. Now, many digital marketers, I think, are in that mindset of, oh, it must be Google, right? People just go to Google. And many bricks and mortar customers, maybe, bricks and mortar marketers may look at, hey, maybe it's print, maybe it's something like that. But we see pretty equally brick and mortar and digital are top. So how do you bridge that gap? How do you bridge that gap from digital to brick and mortar and back with a consistent experience?
Right, so I think we want to, as marketers, try to understand what their journey looks like. When are they going into the store? When are they going online? Why are they doing that? Where do they see the value? And try to really create a journey that captures that. I think the challenge for us then, once we know where they see the value, then it's our job as a marketer to provide that value. I think then the challenge is figuring out what are the relationships between all those channel usages and visits. How do we measure it? And how do we attribute our success across a multi-channel journey? That's not easy. It's doable. It's very different in the different verticals, but it's what we need to do to really figure out, to your point, we want our brand to be really relevant to the customer when it matters to them in the channel of their choice, right? So understanding that multi-channel or omni-channel journey is really going to be success for our brand to be relevant to the customer.
So when we look at results, trust is a huge issue. I think what customers are telling us, right? Because word of mouth is very big. But even when you look at the top answer, in-store browsing, 59% of consumers want to discover products that way. There's a lot of trust in in-store browsing. You're in the store, you can feel the product, you can see the product. And so I think any digital marketer trying to sell a product can learn a lot from financial institutions, because nowhere is trust more important than a financial institution, right? You walk into a bank, there's the mahogany wood, there's a teller, there's that big vault, that giant vault, and you feel trust immediately. So how can digital marketers convey that trust online that people would experience in a brick and mortar location, and then bring people from online locations to bricks and mortar locations?
I think financial service is a really interesting one because of that. We know that we thought at one time branches might disappear because we did see consumers go online and they see real value in their online interactions. But branches never did go away. We just use them a little bit differently now. I think the challenge for financial services marketers are, how do you create a single experience or a consistent experience across those channels? So we've seen some banks, for instance, do some great work where they create a campaign or maybe create a branded process, and that branded process might start online, but the people in the branch are armed with and the materials and the products to be able to finish off that process. So I, as a customer, even though I'm moving across a number of different channels, feel like I'm having a consistent brand experience, right? So the marketers really want to work hard to say, how is the customer experiencing this? And how can we make it so that they feel they have a consistent experience when they're online, getting the value that online channels can bring, but also having that consistent experience pay off in the branch when they're experiencing the brick and mortar and the mahogany and the human touch of the people in the branch.
Yeah, and you mentioned something that I think is really crucial, because if we look at in-store browsing, I mean, if either it's your offline media like print ads, or if it's your online media that are driving people in-store, that is a huge touch point and a huge opportunity for customers. And if customers come in and they talk to that sales rep, and the sales rep has no idea what they saw, they don't know the print ad, they don't know digital, they don't know the product, then you lose all value, and you lose, frankly, what is probably a more expensive purchase, and you drive more customers to only make a price-based decision online. So based on the work with financial institutions, do you have any tips for marketers on how they can train in-store sales reps to make sure that there's that consistent brand experience?
It's a tricky one because often marketers don't have the organizational influence or power to change the training programs in the branch. But we've worked with some banks to create some interesting programs where the customer interacts online, and through that process, they're actually creating an asset or an artifact that they then bring to the branch, and that artifact guides the in-branch staff to know how to react, right? So in that sense, the customer is carrying the consistent touch piece as they pass through the channels, and you're not leaving it up to whether or not the people in the branch have been trained correctly. So you can really use your customer as the kind of conduit for the experience as they pass from digital to bricks and mortar.
That's a nice trigger for the person actually in the store to know what to.
Yes, and it actually helps the branch staff, right? They can actually provide better service, more relevant service, and be more useful to the customer when the customer brings that artifact that they may be generated online through a quiz or through creating an action list or something that is truly useful to them. But then when they take it into the branch staff will know how to deal with that and provide really valuable and helpful service.
Sounds like content marketing to me.
It is. It's content marketing in a way that is much more focused on utility, right? It's really using content that goes beyond informing and educating, and is actually enabling the people in the process, both the people in the bank as well as the customer, to have a better interaction.
Excellent. Okay. Well, thank you for your time, Mark.
My pleasure.
And thank you for watching. You can subscribe to receive more Char of the Weeks in your inbox at marketingsherpa.com.